Okay, going to take a look at Stephany's paper. This is an excellent paper to, first of all, it's an excellent rough draft, and some of the changes that need to be made are just, they're not complicated changes really, but this is a great example for me to share with you here about how you might pick up on some things that you can use in your own paper. So Stephany's paper is about social media is growing a culture of narcissism. I love the phrase culture of narcissism. We have to be careful when we talk about terms like narcissism, because while we know it to be sort of a generality that applies to a lot of people, it is also a clinical diagnosis. So we kind of have to be careful about how we use the word. So culture is a pretty good way to introduce that. So she starts fine, but I have suggested, I said, okay, while this beginning is fine, you might consider pulling up one of those stories where someone died trying to get a selfie in a dangerous location, and then lead into the topic. That would be an excellent way to get the attention of the reader. Okay, so I've highlighted the areas of concern, and I will fix them as I go and explain them, because I think a lot of these will apply to everyone. The rise in the use of social media has a direct correlation to the increase in narcissism. Unlike 20 years ago, people now have the ability to post whatever and whenever they desire publicly with just a few clicks. Each social media post is somehow seeking attention or admiration. It could be as simple as a parent showing off their kids' grades. So what we have here is the pronoun and the antecedent do not agree in number. Remember, parent is singular, there is plural, and so that happens in a lot of you guys' papers. So let's try to work on that. Let's just do it. Show as simple as parents. It could be as simple as parents showing off their kids' grades, or a young woman. So exulting was just the wrong word here. Or a young woman, I don't know what to put there. Exulting's not it. So I'm just going to leave that up to Stephany. Find a better word here where maybe it's promoting her newest selfie, or advertising her newest selfie, something like that. All right, everyone in this class, you have got to get rid of the YOUs. This could be just solved by just taking this out. And I've already said it in these videos. It's also a good idea to try to get rid of the first person. So every post made is to receive some sort of attention. All right. Moving down here, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. Just this is a simple one. These narcissistic people constantly boast about themselves in social media posts. This newfound, if it has an underline on it, check it out. Newfound is one word. This newfound public attention has caused most every social media user to become more narcissistic. It appears that social media gives people TOO is the excess. Too much airspace for their heads to grow and bigger. Okay, so the introduction, just a few changes. I want to focus on this first body paragraph. There are many traits that could be described as narcissistic. I didn't highlight that, but that needs to happen. A few traits include, so whenever we use the word include, we don't need a comma right after include. Go ahead and start your list, and your commas will come in there. Now, with just one scroll through, let's just say any, because I want y'all to get in the habit of getting out of this first person point of view. Any Facebook or Instagram feed, these traits are, and I don't like the word very either. Either find a better word or get rid of it altogether. All right. Yildiz Erturk published a study that measured self-esteem and levels of narcissism in selfies posted on Instagram. Erturk concluded that high self-esteem increases the levels of narcissism and, comma, because we have a new sentence here. Okay, concluded that high self-esteem increases the levels of narcissism, and people portray this, I think this is a better than it, through their selfies posted on social media. Erturk believes there is a new form of approval, not from others, but approval from self. Okay, so if you've already cited the source in the sentence, you won't cite it again at the end of the sentence. So that goes for everybody. Don't double cite. Just make sure you cite it, once. It is true. So this is like a run-on sentence. I know you don't realize that. It is true is a complete sentence. We judge is another complete sentence starting there. So I just think, adding the word that, it is true that we judge ourselves on the amount of likes we receive on a picture. Today, comma, people have a set mentality that if a post didn't receive X number of likes, comma, if then it wasn't good enough. A few traits of narcissism. Okay, so this whole area where it was dealing with the traits that can be described as narcissistic. But now we have a few traits of narcissism are good at certain doses. This really should be a separate paragraph, and I'm going to challenge Stephany to make this a more complete paragraph. Go find some source material that supports these examples here, because this was narcissistic, that is kind of the negative view, and this is more positive. Okay, so look into that. All right, so those are the corrected ones here that I'm going to correct, but I want to point out a few other things. So I just reminded Stephany to be careful using the word narcissism. Maybe narcissistic tendencies, narcissistic characteristics is better, just because of that whole psychological. People in the world of psychology kind of get offended because we overuse the word narcissism. So anyway, so have seen a huge increase. So this is dealing with youth, all right? And then right here, Dr. McGuire also spoke of some of the consequences of society's narcissistic teens' behavior. So there's some proofreading and editing that needs to go in there. This information should be a separate paragraph. Remember, don't base your paragraphs around sources, but on points. And so you need a paragraph, Stephany. Don't start it with Dr. McGuire, but I'm just going to break it out for you. You need a paragraph that is about the negative consequences, okay, or negative outcomes, okay? Not everyone agrees that social media makes us more narcissistic, okay? And then this paragraph here, social media allows people the ability to attract more attention to themselves. This seems like it should go earlier, just to look at it. It seems like it should go earlier in the paper. However, we have this idea about the extreme backdrop, willing to die. And so I think that kind of information would go better up in the negative outcomes, okay? Here, there has been no discovery of real treatment for narcissism. Look into that a little bit. I mean, if you're talking about the clinical diagnosis, you need to look into that more carefully. And by all means, this is a research-based paper. Number one, you need sources here. I mean, I think it's an excellent idea for a paragraph, but let's find some source material to support this. And also, don't use you. Okay, don't use you. All right, so overall, great rough draft. Some nice changes or some good things that everybody can learn from on this one. All right, good job, Stephany, and I look forward to seeing your final draft.